I guess we died? Well, that's rude. Alright, I guess we're
All
going
of his
back down.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What could it mean,
Stanley
disembodied
decided to go to
asshole
the
voice?
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We're going.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So that's an infinite loop. And that's... Alright. Going down the hall, going down the hall.
Yet
Okay.
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
These are life lessons, children. Let's watch intently. See, this is the kind of stuff you need for college. Aww. Some good motivational techniques at this office place. That's... Yeah, I'd say that's correct. Oh my gosh.
Stanley just stood there doing nothing at all. He seems to think I have nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail of his inability to do anything. This is why Stanley and I are on such good terms.
Oh my gosh. Alright, well, I guess we'll go on before he resets me again. Let's see. It's profit. Step 3, profit. Alright, is there anything else that's ridiculously silly here? The whiteboard manager. You need these things. R.I.P. Franz? Oh, what happened to Franz? Stanley, was he your friend? Did you guys get along? Go have walks in the park?
Coming
Alright.
to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
'Cause I can. Eerie.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered
Shut
the
up.
possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during
Oh.
work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he went down? Why did doors
that's
close
good.
automatically behind him wherever he went?
Because
And for
I'm
that matter,
amazing?
these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last,
Oh my gosh.
he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
It's okay, Stanley. We'll get through this together, buddy.
Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation.
Infinite loop.
His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun. and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid?
This game's
And then perhaps the strangest
a
question
feat.
of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
It's a Stanley paradox.
Very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams. The truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
Well, that entire monologue was
Voice
completely
speaking
pointless.
was a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just...
Love the intense
He
music
would
in the
prove it.
background.
He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job.
Come on, Stanley, you're stronger than
All I want
that.
is my life
I believe in you.
exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
I think we were just sedated by an
am
abnormal,
okay.
peaceful, deep voice in our head.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Oh my
This is the
bravo.
story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments,
Stanley.
she considered the strange man.
No.
He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone
Poor
knows
Stanley.
what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Oh my gosh.
To think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very
Oh my.
people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body.
At least we made somebody's day, Stanley. At least we helped somebody in our moment of pure insanity. And we are back. Alright, Stanley. I guess we're going upstairs this time.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Yay! Hope. We have hope, Stanley.
When Stanley came to a set of
Go this
two
way.
open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yes. Because we're awesome like that. Meeting room.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Don't get fired.
Feeling a
It's bad
wave
for
of
you.
disbelief,
No.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Alright,
Coming
up
to
the
a
stairs.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Or will we? Let's go this way first. There's a door. There's that. The door. Can we go through here? Executive bathroom. Yeah. Aw. Sad. Maybe one day, Stanley, once you get that big promotion, you get a better computer and a pen. Look at that. This is what you could have, Stanley. A pen. Think about it. Alright, now. What a surprise! Nothing's here.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Of course, of course. Where's this thing?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Well, yeah, but where's the device? It's behind his desk. Aha!
2845.
Thank you, voice.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
That's not good.
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
That's disconcerting. Are we back in freaking Aperture Labs? I mean, jeez. Oh, that's right, I can't jump. Ugh. I'm gonna stare blankly at this headlight. Alright, now. We tried, Mr. Lamp. Me and you. We could have had something. I have a destiny. It's a wall. Can't go walking in the wall, Stanley. It's not how we roll. We'll do this. Ah, look at that. Pressing buttons. Oh, okay. Hopefully we don't end up back in the office again, huh, Stanley?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job.
Oh, look at that. We're getting free will.
When for years it had never occurred to him. This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oh, look at that. We're making progress. It's good for us. Yeah. Okay. This way.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door of the red mind control facility.
Would you kindly walk through that door? I would oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, well, let's see what happens.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Oh, okay, come on. We can't not do this. Is it getting farther away? It is. Look at that. It's not a loop yet.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point,
we're getting out of here, Stanley.
Conscious,
me and you, buddy.
To walk forward
come on.
And willingly confront his death.
Oh, that's good. Well, it's escape, right? Let's do it. Okay. As
the machine whirred into motion inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
Oh my
Stanley
gosh,
can't see
this is
He
fantastic.
doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man.
Oh
So
my.
he resigned and willingly accepted this vile end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
This is... Well, Stanley, I'm sorry, buddy. Oop.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Okay. That's a nice title card?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
I like this lady. She knows what's up.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now?
Some lovely,
Do you see
lovely
that
portraiture.
Stanley was already dead
See, it's worth
from
it.
the moment
It's worth
he
it.
hit start?
Nature paintings. Indeed. No, I don't. Yeah, fantastic. See, it's a little thing, Stanley.